everyone. Welcome to this new episode of our Student Spotlight series, where we're able to showcase some of the work our past students have done. I'm Charlotte. I'm one of the outreach coordinators here at CCIR, and it's our pleasure today to have with us Joanna, who did one of our Future Scholars Program courses. So Joanna, can you just quickly introduce yourself? So tell us where you're from, what year you are in school, and then a little bit about the course that you took.
Yeah, so I'm Joanna Deng. I'm located in Boca Raton, Florida, so like South Florida, and I'm a junior going into my senior year. I took the Health, Gender, and Power course led by Dr. Hamde Guzel.
And what was that course about? So give us kind of a general synopsis of what you learned in that course.
Yeah, so it was about the intersections between three main topics of health, gender, and power. So it explored, power dynamics within gender or like perceived gender, and then also public health or even like personal health and everything in between, basically. And it really highlighted the intersections between them, not just topic, but like how they all related to each other.
And what interested you in taking this course?
Yeah, so I've always really been into, power dynamics, cultural, race kind of ideas. So when I heard that there was, a course intersecting everything all together, I was like, wow, I need to take this one. And I've always been into more like personal health, and getting to explore, public health a little bit more was definitely really interesting. But I like the idea that this course focused more on, intersections than it did on each topic by itself.
And had you had any experience with this subject or any of the three in school before?
Not really. There's not a lot of opportunities at my school to discuss, health, gender, and power, but it's definitely something I explore in my creative writing. So I like to creative write a lot, and in my short stories and like poems, I talk a lot about cultural identity and race and power, I guess, in that aspect. So it was really interesting exploring these topics in an academic writing level instead of just fiction.
Okay, that's great. And then now we're going to shift into your specific research topic. So can you tell us what your paper was about, and then what also led you to wanting to do this topic?
Okay, so my paper was entitled Shades of Identity, exploring how East Asian women perceive skin lightening practices in social media. And it sort of elucidated like how second generation East Asian Americans specifically interacted with the prevalence of lighter skin tone and unregulated skin lightening practices in the media, especially in East Asian targeted media. And it sort of explored generational divides, and then different reactions to diaspora, and then also different experiences with colorism. And I think I chose this topic primarily because I've always really been interested in culture again. And we actually did a cosmetic surgery unit in the Future Scholars Program, and I think that's what really ignited this sort of idea within me, because we talked a lot about how like cosmetic procedures can be caused by power differences, and also affects gendered people differently, and like different biological sexes, and then perceived gender as well. So that really kind of urged me to talk more about this topic. And also with like personal experiences being, Asian American, and within that Asian American diaspora, I really wanted to highlight kind of these feelings that people might experience, and kind of tell them like, hey, you're not alone. There's like research backing up these perceptions that you may have.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think especially nowadays where cosmetic procedures are becoming more and more common, it's definitely something that needs a lot more research. It needs to be discussed a lot more. So with your paper, what were your research methods? What was that process of finding the data like for you?
Yeah, so I did kind of two methodologies actually. I did a social media analysis. So basically this is where I went on primarily TikTok, because a lot of, East Asian influences kind of get mixed up in there. So I analyzed around 50 to 60 TikToks and the comments in it, what people were saying about it, and they all had to do with either promotions of skin lightening products or promotions of light skin in general, and then how people interacted with it. And commonly, it was a lot like, "Wow, where can I buy this product? I wish I had lighter skin. That would actually help me a lot, like where I am right now. And how did you get to this point?" Kind of questions like that. Um, and then I also did interviews. Actually, I did interviews with 4 East Asian American women, and through this, I was really able to discover more of the diaspora effects and then also the second generational divides, because we talked a lot about their parents and then their experiences with colorism in the United States versus in their motherlands. And it was just really, really interesting getting to see everybody's perspectives, especially around.
That's really cool. And then also nice that you were able to do 2 separate methods of data collection. So giving you experience or giving you exposure to both of those. With your analysis of social media, how did you find kind of that whole process, or even with the interviews? Had you done something like this before, or was this your first time doing this type of research?
Definitely with interviews, it was my first time. It was actually really difficult at the start to reach out to a bunch of people who've had these experiences or didn't have these experiences, actually. And it was interesting to kind of see everybody's perspectives on the topic. And with social media analysis, I have done data analysis before. Basically, how I approached it was I started with basic tags like beauty and then like light skin. And then I went through there and then saw like a bunch of accounts promoting things and then a bunch of commenters, and kind of found the general audience of who was watching these and then how they were responding to it.
Nice. And then can you tell us just a few things? What were your key takeaways from your research, and what do you think the importance of your finding is for the field or for the general public?
Yeah, so we kind of gathered from my research that skin color is sort of class imperative, especially in East Asia, because of course there's a lot of historical aspects to it, and like in their old literature, there's a lot of aspects alluding to it. But when you're here in America and when you're talking to East Asian Americans, their experiences vary greatly by how they were raised in a sense. So in a sense, we kind of discussed how a lot of times children's, like East Asian American women and East Asian American children's experiences with colorism and that like diaspora effect has to do with how well their parents have adapted to the culture in the country where they're currently in versus the country where they're from. So I wanted to encourage, more self-reflection within not only my interviewees, but with people that, they might talk to this about, or within my research who would read it. I wanted them to sort of think about maybe that there's a generational divide between, how their culture is perceived. And then also maybe that'll help them understand, who they are better, and then who their family is better, and then what their ancestry is better as well.
Yeah, that seems like a really important topic for second generations, like no matter where you come from, and also with the general public as well. Again, with cosmetic procedures being so commonly used now. And then, did this research, either your findings or the research process as a whole, did it change any perspectives that you, or develop any perspectives that you had on anything related to the topic?
I think it definitely opened my eyes to the broader range of things, because within my interviews and within some of the comments I saw, some people just care about like beauty standards more than other people, and some people, of course, with different experiences, like care about its effect more as well. So I think it opened my eyes to see like when you get people to reflect on these things, they can start having revelations themselves, and then it can help you understand like not everybody has thought about these topics deeply and how it's impacted them in a way. So I think it definitely helped me see that there's, a lot of perspectives around the world and a lot of perspectives, especially within this topic itself. And it's just good to be open to receiving all of them. And there's not really a right answer. It's just a pattern that you end up seeing, not really like, oh, this is what everybody experiences. This is what everybody sees all the time.
I think those are really insightful takeaways. So now we're going to shift into talking about just your general experience with CCIR. So the first question is, can you tell us what your experience was like in general with this program, and then also doing a high-level research project like this, especially as a high school student?
Yeah, so it was definitely challenging, but it was at the end really, really fun. So I think having a mentor who is passionate about the same subjects as you and is capable of guiding you throughout this whole process was really, really helpful. Even the TA really helped me. My TA was named Tara, and she really, really helped me flesh out my research question and um, become even more interested in this topic because she kept asking me like, why, how, make this more specific. And I was like, okay, I'm getting it now. This is starting to get really, really interesting. So definitely having that guidance in a higher level research course is really, really helpful. And CCIR provided the perfect opportunity for that. Everybody is just so nice. And especially with the Future Scholars program, you're in like a small cohort, I guess, and everybody else is also really, really interested in these topics. And they'll, ask you questions and you can ask them questions. And it builds a really nice atmosphere and fosters like more flash fired creative like idea generation, and it's really, really nice in general. It got to be really fun near the end because we were all getting familiarized with each other, and we were capable of giving each other constructive criticism while supporting each other at this.
That sounds really great. And then just for any viewers watching, if you don't know, in the Future Scholars program, we cap each course at 5 students. So each course will have a maximum of 5 students. So now that we're talking about the other students in the course, did you have 4 other students in your course?
Yeah, it was a full.
And can you tell us about like what were they all from the US? Did you have any from outside of the US? And then what were their projects like compared to yours? Were they similar or vastly different? And how did you navigate that within your course?
Yeah, so there was 2 of us from the United States, including me. There was 2 of us from China, and then there was 1 from Brazil, actually. So it was a very broad class, and our topics were not the same at all. It all kind of had to do with, of course, health, gender, and power, because that was the topics of our course. But how people kind of twisted that around and explored that in like the intersections was really, really interesting. I know one person focused a lot on public health, and then another focused on the health of a country, and then other people focused on perceptions of health and the perceptions of gender within a certain community. It was all really interesting, and I think especially with the coursework that happened prior to deciding on our final research project, it was helpful for all of us to understand each other's projects and all of us to understand each other's passions. So when people were pitching their research proposals for the first time, it was like, wow, these people are so, so cool because they have so many ideas and they're all like really amazing ideas. And just being able to sit in on that, and then when they asked for criticism, it would just be like really nice, like, you're all doing amazing, and asking genuine, curious questions about their topics.
Yeah, that seems cool. And it's like, seems like you were able to learn a lot about topics outside of your own, which is really cool. And I think that's one of the really great benefits of the Future Scholars program, that you do get to develop so much as a researcher, as a student, as a person, being able to meet these people. And like you said, from all around the world. You have 3 different countries in your course, which is so cool. So then also, you spoke about this a little bit, but one other thing that we really like to emphasize in our programs is the aspect of mentorship, as opposed to just teachers, where our mentors don't just transfer information onto you as students, but they really are there to just guide you in your own thinking journey and learning process. So can you tell me about what your experience was like with your mentor and with your TA as you moved through the first half of that more kind of traditional teaching half of the course into the latter research half of the course?
Yeah, so both my mentor and my TA were super, super helpful within building my research project itself. So I remember I met with my TA actually outside of class times, and we kind of discussed, how could I specify my research question? How could I dive even deeper into this passion. And everybody is just really, really supportive throughout this whole process, especially my mentor. She was really available throughout the whole time, providing, constructive feedback. That was nice to have. And I remember when we were sitting through our first research proposals, actually, her like questioning and her kind of asking us to delve deeper within ourselves and within our questions was really, really nice to hear, because then it's like, wow, not only do we all have room to improve, we're all doing really, really well, and she's encouraging us. So I think what a lot of people kind of get scared out of when starting these research projects is that they don't have that guidance. But with with our mentor and with our TA, we definitely receive that guidance, and it kind of eliminates the fear of sort of the unknown, because they of course are professionals in the field, and they have the right tips and the right guidance to help us get through kind of the harder processes of defining what we really want to explore.
I think that's great. And then just a few last questions for you. So do you think this course has given you any insights into your future? Has it informed or maybe shaped how you think of your path moving forward at all?
Yeah, 100%. So when I first started this course, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do in the future. I only knew that I liked talking about sociology and sort of the, interpersonal aspects of the whole world. But now coming out of this, I know that I definitely want to pursue higher education in sociology or area cultural gender studies kind of aspect. And we talked about that a little bit during our mentorship, and she kind of helped us understand the more industry side of sociology as well. And that was really helpful in sort of helping us figure out what we really wanted to, especially with our research project outside of CCIR classes.
And then the last question for you, what would you say to someone who asked you what the value of doing a project or a program like this is, especially as a high school student?
I think it could definitely help you connect not only with yourself, but with your whole community in general. So it helps you see past like the physical and into not only, the emotional side of things. And it kind of forces you to ask, the whys and hows, and understand just how things are working in the world. Obviously, I did more of like a social science research project, but for research in general, it really, really helps you, stay curious and stay passionate about things you do, because it forces you to ask questions and receive constructive criticism that helps you know that you're on the right path for not only yourself, but it helps you grow as a student, and then it helps you grow as a person as well, because you are under, obviously it's intense. So you're dealing with some sort of pressure in like not only within yourself, but from like outside, that's like to produce something. But that's really, really helpful, kind of getting to grow as well, because as people go into college, they'll have to, delve into research as well. So I think it's just really helpful in defining your passions, and kind of a reason for you to stay passionate as well. It like kind of forces you to get out of bed and then go, hey, we should do this, and then ends up being really fun always.
I think that's great advice. Yeah. And I think with these programs, especially like the course you did, it's a course that you usually don't get to experience in high school. So it really helps you solidify if this path is right for you, or if you're interested in research, which can be a great thing before going into university. So thank you so much again for chatting with me, and congratulations on your nomination to our Spotlight series.
Thank you.